Sergeant Xiphon squinted through his helmet's visor, the morning sun's crimson glow casting long shadows across the desolate landing zone. The ruined hulk of the Imperial cruiser, the Iron Will, loomed monstrously before him, a jagged scar against the inky void. The once proud hull of the Iron Will now had gaping holes and vents, spewing plumes of inert gas like skeletal fingers reaching for the heavens. Xiphon, a stoic veteran of the 3rd Company of the Red Scorpions, adjusted the grip on his bolt gun. Unlike his brothers, clad in the chapter's customary crimson and ochre, his armor sported the weathered grey of a seasoned scout marine. Years spent infiltrating enemy lines had honed his senses. His every instinct was screaming caution. Unearthly quiet, wouldn't you say, Sarge? Brother Xiphon, the squad's young and eager apothecary, spoke up. His youthful face, pale beneath the helmet's blue glow, betrayed a nervous twitch in his hand clutching a bioscanner. Xiphon grunted in reply, his gaze flickering across the ruined landing bay, littered with the twisted wreckage of landing craft. "This entire mission reeks of heresy," he muttered, his voice a low rumble through the Voxcaster. "How could a derelict ship, lost in the warp for centuries, have a distress beacon? Doesn't add up." Commander Kivar, the squad's leader, strode at the forefront, his crimson cloak billowing dramatically behind him. A towering figure even amongst space marines, his scarred face held a grim determination. "Sergeant, the purity of the chapter's lineage is paramount. Even a whisper of suspicion demands investigation." His voice, a gravelly rasp, echoed through the Vox. They moved with practiced efficiency. The rhythmic crunch of their boots was the only sound that disturbed the spectral silence. Xiphon's augmetics hummed as he scanned the hangar, his gaze snagging on a flickering sigil half buried under debris. A twisted serpent coiling around a shattered sun. Unease gnawed at him. That symbol, it shouldn't be here. It belonged to the Thousand Sons, the traitor legion notorious for their psychic mutations. Kevar's voice crackled through the Vox. "Sergeant Xiphon, report." Xiphon cleared his throat and the symbol sent a tremor of unease through him. "Symbol identified, sir. The symbol matches the fragmented records of the Thousand Sons Legion." His voice sent shivers down his spine. The mere mention of the traitor legion was enough to send chills down the spines of any loyal Astartes. A tense silence followed. Then Kevar spoke, his voice laced with steel. "Contamination. We proceed with the utmost caution. Brother Xiphon, commence immediate environmental scans for any traces of sentient taint." Xiphon nodded vigorously as his bioscanner whirred to life. The weight of their discovery hung heavy in the air. This wasn't a simple salvage operation anymore. They had stumbled upon something far more sinister, something that could shake the very foundations of the Red Scorpion's lineage. The Iron Will held secrets that could rewrite history, and Xiphon, a veteran of countless battles, had a feeling this was just the beginning. The deeper they ventured into the Iron Will, the more oppressive the silence grew. The air was heavy with an acrid tang, the metallic scent of decay clinging to everything. The flickering emergency lights cast long, distorted shadows on the bulkheads, playing tricks on Xiphon's already wary mind. Each corridor they passed was a testament to the ship's violent demise. Twisted metal plates, contorted with intense heat, melted and warped like twisted taffy. Servitor corpses, their once functional forms ravaged by time and neglect, littered the walkways, a grim reminder of the crew's fate. Suddenly, a guttural roar, tinged with a chilling electronic whine, echoed through the bulkhead ahead. The squad tensed, hands tightening around their bolters. Kevar raised his fist, signaling for them to halt. "Brother Xiphon," he rumbled, his voice taut with anticipation. "Can your augmatics identify the source?" The young apothecary's brow furrowed beneath his helmet. "The readings are inconclusive, sir, but the source is definitely organic and powerful. Biosignature is unlike anything I've encountered before." Xiphon swallowed hard. This wasn't a simple derelict anymore. This was a hunting ground for something monstrous. He glanced at Kevar, and the commander's crimson eyes narrowed in concentration. "Prepare yourselves, brothers." Kevar's voice boomed through the room. "We are approaching the bridge." They moved with renewed urgency, adrenaline coursing through Xiphon's veins. The metallic tang in the air intensified, burning his nostrils and sending a shiver of dread down his spine. The closer they got, the clearer the source of the growls became. It was a rhythmic, mechanical grinding, punctuated by the occasional inhuman shriek that sent goosebumps erupting across his skin. Finally, they reached the bridge. The massive observation window that once provided a panoramic view of space is now a gaping maw, exposing the unforgiving void beyond. Inside, the bridge was a scene of utter carnage. Control panels lay shattered, sparks spewing from their exposed circuits. Chunks of charred flesh littered the deck, while seats ripped from their moorings. And in the center of the carnage, a monstrous amalgamation of twisted metal and pulsating flesh writhed, a grotesque mockery of the ship's former command crew. Wires snaked from its metallic carapace, burrowing into the exposed flesh of its mangled victims. Its single glowing eye, a malevolent red orb, locked onto the squad. Xiphon felt a surge of righteous fury. This abomination had defiled the vessel, a sacred symbol of the Imperium. He raised his bolter, the familiar weight serving as a source of comfort amidst the chaos. "For the Emperor! For the Red Scorpions!" Keva roared, shattering the tense silence. His bolt gun barked, a crimson streak erupting from the barrel and slamming into the creature's central mass. The beast spasmed, its metallic shriek intensifying as it lumbered towards them. The bridge echoed with the cacophony of battle. Bolter rounds punched sizzling holes into the creature's warped flesh, eliciting deafening shrieks. Yet, with each hit, the monstrosity seemed to writhe and pulsate, the metallic strands embedded in its form, conducting the energy and feeding its rage. Xiphon danced a deadly ballet, his years of experience in close-quarters combat honed to a razor's edge. He weaved between grasping metal claws, his combat blade a blur of silver as it carved through pulsating flesh. The metallic reek filled his helmet, providing a sickening counterpoint to the creature's unearthly growls. A guttural roar from Keva drew his attention. The commander stood toe-to-toe with the beast, his crimson cloak billowing like a macabre flag. His power fist, crackling with blue energy, slammed into the creature's central eye. The beast recoiled, and the glowing orb dimmed momentarily. "It reacts with psychic energy," Keva bellowed through the vox, his voice straining. "Target the metallic tendrils." Xiphon understood. The tendrils channeled the psychic energy from Keva's attack, fueling the beast. He lunged forward, dodging a sweeping claw, and plunged his combat blade into the base of a thick metal strand. As the tendril pulsed with energy, a jolt of searing pain lanced through his arm. Ignoring it, he ripped the blade free, a shower of sparks erupting from the wound. The creature shrieked, its single eye flickering wildly. With renewed vigor, the other Marines followed suit, severing the metallic tendrils with bolter fire and power weapons. As the final strand fell limp, a surge of raw psychic energy pulsed through the bridge, washing over the squad. For a moment, Xiphon felt overwhelmed, a kaleidoscope of fragmented images assaulting his mind. Images of a once proud warship, its crew ravaged by warp entities. The images depict a shimmering portal that is spewing forth demonic creatures, and most disturbingly, a fleeting glimpse of a legion symbol, a twisted serpent coiling around a shattered sun, the symbol of the thousand suns. The psychic backlash subsided as abruptly as it began. The creature, its connection severed, let out a final, mournful wail before collapsing onto the bridge deck, a lifeless heap of warped flesh and metal. Silence descended, heavy and oppressive. Xiphon panted, his arm throbbing from the tendril's attack. He looked at his brothers, each one staring upwards, their faces pale beneath their helmets. "Sergeant Xiphon," Keva's voice crackled through the vox, low and raspy. "Report on your findings." Xiphon holstered his blade with a hoarse voice. "Psychic backlash, sir. Images, fragmented, but unsettling." He hesitated, then described the fragmented visions, the demonic incursion, and the damning symbol. A grim silence followed. Then Keva spoke, his voice laced with a dangerous edge. "The thousand suns. It seems the whispers held some truth." The revelation's weight hung heavy in the air. The Iron Will's secrets were darker than they could have ever imagined. The discovery of the Traitor Legion symbol, coupled with the psychic echoes, suggested a far deeper connection between the Red Scorpions and the Thousand Sons than anyone dared to believe. The mission had taken a sharp turn. They weren't just investigating a distress call anymore. They were uncovering a buried truth, a truth that could shake the very foundations of the Red Scorpions chapter. The discovery of the Thousand Sons symbol hung heavy in the air as the Red Scorpions navigated deeper into the Iron Will's mangled interior. The bridge encounter had left them weary, both physically and mentally. The battle had been brutal, and the psychic echoes unleashed by the abomination had left Xiphon with a nagging unease. "There," Brother Zephyr rasped, his voice tight with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. He pointed his bioscanner towards a heavily fortified doorway tucked away in a darkened corridor. "Emergency vault. The biolock is intact, but the readings are unlike anything I've encountered." Kevar, his crimson cloak billowing behind him, approached the vault with a wary stride. The door, a slab of rusted metal emblazoned with a long-faded imperial aquila, stood as a testament to the ship's former glory. He turned to Xiphon, his eyes glinting with an unyielding determination. "Sergeant," he rumbled, "breaching team ready?" Xiphon hefted his plasma cutter, the comforting hum of its power core providing a familiar reassurance. "Ready, sir." Together, Xiphon and another brother, Brother Avitus, a hulking figure wielding a power hammer, positioned themselves beside the vault door. Avitus, known for his unwavering strength, slammed his hammer against the biolock. The impact echoed through the corridor, sending a tremor through the ship's entire hull. "Again," Kevar commanded. This time, Xiphon followed suit, with the plasma cutter spitting a searing beam onto the weakened lock. The metal hissed as it began to melt, revealing a faint red glow emanating from within. With a final, combined assault of hammer and plasma, the lock gave way, showering them with sparks and molten metal. The emergency vault swung open with a groan, revealing a dimly lit chamber lined with flickering data slates. In the center, a lone stasis capsule hummed with a faint blue light. Xiphon's curiosity warred with apprehension. What secrets did this vault hold? What lay dormant within the stasis capsule? Kevar stepped into the vault, his movements measured and deliberate. He scanned the data slates with a practiced eye, his brow furrowing underneath his helmet. "Sergeant," he called, his voice echoing in the cramped chamber. "These records predate the founding of the Red Scorpions chapter." Xiphon's unease intensified. What could this possibly mean? Zephyr, ever the inquisitive one, cautiously approached the stasis capsule. The occupant's vital signs are minimal but detectable. He comes from an ancient lineage and could have been a founding member of the chapter. Kevar's gaze darted towards the capsule, then back to the data slates. A tense silence filled the air, broken only by the faint hum of the stasis unit. The weight of their discovery pressed upon them. The emergency vault, once a safe haven for the ship's captain, now held the key to a dark secret, a secret that could rewrite the history of the Red Scorpions. Under Kevar's touch, the data slates flickered to life, casting an eerie blue glow on the faces of the Red Scorpions gathered in the vault. Xiphon squinted at the archaic text on the screens, a cold sweat prickling his skin. "These are genetic logs," Zephyr murmured, his voice tinged with awe. "Detailed records of the chapter's founding Astartes, as well as something else." Kevar scrolled through the data, his silence causing a storm to brew within the confines of his helmet. Finally, he spoke, his voice a low growl. "Brother Zephyr, is that what I think it is?" Zephyr swallowed hard. "The Thousand Sons gene seed signature, sir. It's, undeniable." Xiphon felt a wave of nausea wash over him. The whispers and the fragmented visions all came crashing down. The Red Scorpions, a chapter known for their unwavering loyalty and purity, might have a tainted origin story. A disturbing image from the psychic backlash flickered in his mind. A legion symbol, identical to the one they found on the bridge, emblazoned on a Space Marine's armor. Perhaps it was their chapter master, their founding father. The thought was both horrifying and exhilarating. Keva slammed his fist against the control panel, the data slates flickering momentarily. This can't be true. This cannot be the Red Scorpion's legacy. Commander, Xiphon interjected, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. We need to analyze these logs further. There has to be an explanation. Keva nodded curtly. Sergeant, gather the datasets. We return to the ship. Brother Zephon, prepare the apothecarian for a full genetic analysis upon arrival. The silence within the vault was deafening as the Red Scorpions moved with grim determination. The weight of their discovery settled upon them like a suffocating shroud. Doubt now loomed over their lineage and identity as Red Scorpions. The Iron Will had revealed its secrets, which were difficult to accept. As they exited the vault, the metallic groan of the closing door echoed through the corridor. The sound of a chapter's past slamming shut, leaving them to grapple with an uncertain future that would test their loyalty and purity in ways they never imagined, was more than just a physical sound.